Hello, Namaste. I welcome you all to the 41st session of Gurubodha with our beloved Dr. M.B. Guraja sir. So, coming to the topic of the day, it really took many people by surprise that such a remarkable remarkable progress was achieved by Dr. Guraja sir in a case of Vitiligo. Good evening, Guraja sir, and can I please take us through this case, please?
So it's a very, as you see very clearly in the picture, she is aged about 10 years, and she came to me with discoloration and this pigmentation, depigmentation issues. And it was the lesion was very active. Since last 4 months, she's been under treatment, and I'm using straight away in this ArogyaVardhini Vati and Swayambhuva Guggulu, as well as Bringaraja Ganavati. And externally, I'm using a Pigmento cream for her. And of course, sometimes even Verdura Melapro also I used it. And she is responding to a treatment. And this is the stage after 4 months of continuous treatment. You can see there is almost 50% on the lateral aspect is cleared. So still in the medial aspect, 50% is remaining. So that is one of the important remarkable thing which is achieved with Ayurvedic medications. And of course, I ask them to maintain strict Apathya words simply which I usually do it for all skin conditions. Same thing is applied here. That no non-veg, no oily stuff, no masalas or spicy items, and no bakery products. So such type of restrictions I usually give to even for these conditions. And of course, as I'll ask avoid the mustard oil, but of course in southern India and these areas there's no use of mustard oil, so it will be no problem. If it is in case of a North Indian, then there is a chance of using mustard oil, so we need to take care of that, consider that part of it also. So this is another case. Actually, there's another one case. It's also of the similar place in another child, but she recovered totally in 6 months. And let me hope even for this condition, maybe another 2 to 3 months, the things will go around.
Yeah, before we get into the medicines and all, in case of vitiligo, how would you decipher the case in terms of like Ayurveda, dosha, dhatu, etc., please?
See, very clearly when the patient comes to me, I'll just check it out whether what is her age and what is their food habits. Then typically the lesion color. Lesion color is, so if it is a coppery red, then it is involvement of pitta, and this one is that. But if it is a purely whitish, then there is an involvement of kapha. But typically all these Shwitra cases, it is the deficiency or kshayavastha of brajaka pitta. So we need to improve the Pachaka Pitta by giving improvement of the Pachaka Pitta, because Pachaka Pitta, if it is improved, it improves all the other subtypes of Pittas. So that's the reason we improve Pachaka Pitta, just like how Avalambaka Kapha will improve all the Kaphas. Similarly, this type of condition. And in this, of course, the lesion was active because the patient, according to patient history, it is that there is a variation in the size and shape and design of the lesion, the contour of the lesion. So based on that, then I thought it is an active disease. So if we can try with Shamana Aushadhi, it could be better, because these patients cannot be just straight away taken to the Shodhana procedure because they may not be suitable for that. And we can't assure by just by simple doing Shodhana in the beginning, we cannot assure something good result immediately, because when the people spend money on that Shodhana therapy, their anticipation is something which is just like an operation. Patient is submitted for operation, and that soon after the operation, the things will be settled down. So it will not take place in that time, and they need to be counseled for this. So better for these patients, it is good to give them a continuous Shamana Aushadhi by maintaining strict diet or Apathya, and definitely will take some time, bargain some time from them, because it is a disease of which runs in many months and of course sometimes years. So we need to go for it, because sometimes there are stubborn nature of diseases will be there. They won't respond in the initially, in the beginning, but later they start responding to that. And in the meanwhile, if it is required, I'll slowly alter the combinations of material, medicines which are given. Even for this, I got Bakuchi containing capsules and tablets are also there. and even some oil is also there for this purpose, like in the brand name of Tolenom. So which I can usually, depending upon the condition, I pick it up.
Can you please spell that oil, sir?
Tolenom, Tolenorm.
Okay. And have you ever considered, in many cases of Shwitra that you have treated, have you ever considered Virechana before or after, say, starting Shamanaushadis, sir?
See, technically the book says that should be done, but many a times the patient will not be ready for these type of things, because we are also having some sort of doubt in case of whether to consider these type of children for the Shodhana therapies, because if there is some complications, they will not be ready to accept it, and because it will be totally new to them. So it is better they will be familiar with something that they went to doctor and doctor given some medicine and we are consuming the medicine, that they are very much familiar. So that they pick up that type of line of treatment. While explaining, even though we have told them that there is a chance of doing Virechana and these are things, but they prefer let us start with the Shamana doctor. We'll see some months. Then if it is required, then we'll go. Like that, they'll go. So when they start with the Shamana Aushadhi, when slowly Shamana Aushadhi itself starts responding, then they don't want to, and even we don't want to consider them for the Shodhana therapies.
Is there age related with prognosis of vitiligo? I mean, if older the patient, difficult the disease, is it like that? Or
definitely the age of the patient, if it is comparatively higher, then definitely, because all tissues will not respond to treatment as age advances. So similarly, even the melanocytes. So that that is a part of it. We need to accept that. It will be, but very young and middle-aged people that they usually, when we go for a rigorous Shamanaushadhi, definitely the results are seen.
yeah, you mentioned about Pachakapitta and stimulating Pachakapitta in order to target Bhajakapitta, which is there at the level of skin. And going through your medicines of choice, in this case, ArogyaVardhini, Vati and Swayambhuva, Guggulu and whatnot. So do you target liver, or like in your mind, do you intend to stimulate liver as well, or you are considering liver in this disease?
Definitely, liver has been considered as a yakrit in Ayurveda, and yakrit is considered as typically Raktava Sroto Mula. When Raktava Sroto Mula, where our target is to improve the blood and purify the blood and stimulate the pitta. So all are targeted from the source of liver. So definitely, whatever the drug we are using, like ArogyaVardhini or even the Bringaraja Ganavati, definitely stimulate the pitta, particularly Pachak pitta, and to stimulate the liver to a large extent. And definitely, once the root cause or the root of the system is being treated properly or stimulated properly, then automatically it sends positive signals to other pittas in the body, and they also start behaving in a supporting line or in a sympathetic manner. So they'll also respond in a right direction, and definitely they start getting stimulated. Bringaraja is one of the drug which is very typically works as a Rasayana, and it is a very good liver tonic as a liver stimulant, as well as this is one of the important Kesha and Twacha Rasayana we say. So it is very good to the skin. So based on that concepts, I selected Bringaraja, and it is giving results.
That's a wonderful thing that, I mean, because the skin pigmentation needs to be regenerated. Overall, the skin has to be rejuvenated. So Rasayana makes very much sense there. And apart from these oral medicines, based on patient, do you change the combination, or these are fixed almost?
It's not fixed. There are changes, because see, sometimes I use ArogyaVardhini, along with that I use the Vitcare capsule, and I use a Dermafex tablet, and sometimes even I use Madhusnuhi Rasayana and Kadira Arista, and even my Charmamrita powder combination. So like that, there are many such combinations that is available. I can select and opt all those things as per the requirement.
On which cases, say, you would use, say, Madhusnuhi Rasayana or other medicines that you just mentioned?
See very clearly, when skin has to be given some finishing touches like that in any skin diseases, once there is a Shodhana followed by Shamana, to a large extent the disease is suppressed or it is in a stage of responding, then if Madhusnuhi Rasayana is added, then usually the things will roll fast. So it is not like that in only one. It is in many skin conditions. Madhusnuhi Rasayana can be used.
Going through the ArogyaVardhini Vati or Rasa ingredients, it contains Parada, Gandhaka. So it in a way is has that rejuvenation action. Of course, it is used in a lot of Yakrut rogas, but it has its own skin specific rejuvenative type of action also. So
Definitely, even it contains many peculiar nano substances like Abraka Basma and Tamra Basma and Loha Basma. They are also very much stimulating to the liver as well as skin conditions, and they definitely they'll stimulate the Brajika Pitta to a large extent, and that's why we get very comparatively good results with using these ArogyaVardhini.
ArogyaVardhini general uses are it's used in fever, obesity, liver disorders, Aruchi, improving Agni again, like you rightly told, the Pachak Pitta stimulation there, and whatnot. So next is Swayambhuva Guggulu. So main ingredient is Bakuchi, and it also contains again Shilajit, again Loha Basma, again lot of rejuvenative ingredients are also there in this as well. So Triphala.
Definitely, in this, a very important ingredient is Bakuchi, because it is a very well established drug. Definitely causes a very stimulative action onto the skin, particularly for Brajaka Pitta. And it is the drug of choice for Shwitra. And along with that, there is a Shilajit is there, then Swarnamakshika Basma is there, Loha Basma is there. Definitely, they are penetrative, Sukshma in nature, and Rasayana in nature. Definitely, that's the reason we get results with this.
Because it contains Trivrit, Danti, Musta, Vidanga, and especially while using in children, does it cause any stomach irritation or such other symptoms? Sir?
I have used in these children, but I have not come across any such irritation or something like that, or even loose motions or something like that, or watery stools. May not be a thing, but of course we need to be very cautious with that. Usually I start with Swayambhuva in a dose of 111 single tablet 3 times a day. Then slowly I'll increase when the feedback is positive and they don't get any negative feedback. Then I'll increase to 222 depending upon the condition and of course age and body weight.
Yeah, and it is very interesting combination that some Bakuchi is directly related with. I mean, it's indicated in Shwitra. Loha Triphala we already discussed. Kadira is again for good for it has Tvacha Kushtagna action, and Tirut Danti and Amaltas is again has mild Pitta Rechana effect. Vidanga comes up with Krumigna effect. And allergic skin manifestations. Overall, a very wholesome medicine for skin care, sir.
Definitely, it contains so many ingredients. Some of will be in cleaning process, some of will be improving the Agni, some of them will be imparting the functions of finer and sub varieties of Pitta, and some of them are suppressing the Vidagdhata of the Pitta, and some of them even suppressing the part of worms, if any cremies, that part. So like that, it contains all the materials which can be, someone will be cleaning and someone will be preparing and someone will be arranging, something like that. So it is something as a whole spectrum of drugs are there which are supportive to Shwitra particularly, and of course in large extent even to the skin diseases, other skin diseases.
And in Shwitra we commonly use, I mean, because there is Pitta, let's say, deficiency in the level of skin. I mean, in modern terms, it's considered as melatonin. So that's why a lot of even Chitra Kasava is used here. Chitraka is there, and Musta, Trivrat, even Ayaskruti. So largely Ushnadavyas are used more in Shwitra management, sir.
Particularly in case of skin conditions, we need to make in such a way that whatever the intermedicine is taken, that intermedicine has to reach to the level of skin from the inside. So that takes a lot of effort and of course a lot of scope to reach. Then to reach such type of things, it should be Sukshma and it should be Tikshna. If Sukshma and Tikshna are there, then only we can expect the drug to reach to the skin level. Something we apply from the outside, it passes through the transdermal absorption, and that is fine. But still, any drug which is given through the mouth, it goes to the system, and from that system, it has to reach to the skin internally. Then it should be having a Tikshna and Sukshma gunas, and such drugs will be taken, used in these combinations. And that's why all these basmas, they are nano in nature, they are Sukshma, and of course, Loha is Tikshna, something like that, even Chitraka is Tikshna. So the very well planned combination as by our acharyas.
Yeah, it probably is one of the wonder diseases. I'm sorry, diseases for which wonderfully Ayurvedic Samprapti and Ayurvedic medicines with perfectly planned ingredients make sense, whereas allopathy a little bit lacks in the management, sir.
Even allopathy, they use the same bakuchi, but in the form of an extract, sorrelin extract. They use it, and because it is a Sorrelia carylifolia botanically, which contains the sorrelin, and some photocomarins are there. That photocomarins and sorrelins are taken in the form of ointment, and they apply it. And even some placental extracts are taken, and that is also used in the form of placental ointment and something like that. So these things are there even in allopathy, and of course sometimes even they give results. But internal medication, when it comes to the scope of internal medication, allopathic section has a very limited scope, and they don't have any drugs.
Yeah, and there's a question here that are dairy products Apathya in Vitiligo, do you ask them to avoid because child and there will be difficulties?
See, very clearly, the dairy product of America or something like that, or a dairy product in Indian cities and a dairy product in Indian villages, quite different from one another. I do recommend if it is consumed, dairy products, particularly the milk and these things are consumed by the child, if it is from Indian cows, desi cows, so then there will be no problem. Otherwise, if it is from the Jersey or something like that, or Holstein and such type of things, and I do advise them not to consume.
So somebody has asked to explain the apathyas in detail for skin disorders. With respect to Shwitra or Vitiligo, Viruddhahara is told, Chardi Vega Dharana is told, Ati Bhojana. These are I collected reference from many textbooks, including Saraswata. Atyamla Lavana, Madhura, Katurasa Sevana, Navanna, Dadhi, like freshly harvested grains, which are usually abhishandi, sticky, and hard to digest. Matsya Bhakshana is explained, like heavy intake of fresh grains. So, apart from that, anything that we are missing here, sir?
Basically, this is explained in a text with respect to that time. We need to make it Yugana Rupi. Now you can add all sorts of roadside all preparations, chats, or even chunky masalas, something like that, or even pani puri, gobi manchuri, so many spicy items, whichever the junk masala foods are there, all those things, and even bakery items that should be avoided.
With bakery items, usually they mix and match many different ingredients, and this has seen you use similar strategy in most of the skin diseases. We had a session with psoriasis and all. So simply avoiding external foods and eating what our grandmothers cook probably is the simple solution, sir.
Definitely, because presently you may be wonder what they do is or how they do it. They have a preparation. Once they do the preparation, they will add something as a chemical salts or something like that to give smell, to give odor, to give taste, to give a finishing touch, to act as a preservative. There are plenty of material is added and some colors. We don't know what exactly which is causing a problem. And all of them in their combination, they may be worst combination. So it comes under the category of Viruddhahara or Apathya Bhojana. So definitely we need to avoid all those things. They may be very tasty, tangy to the tongue, but it is very, very definitely it is going to be dangerous to the system. So that needs to be avoided.
Yeah, and especially the color, the gobi manchuri, they make it like bright and just as if freshly harvested and taken. And what it is also consumer mentality that has caused all these issues. If it is home baked, is it still a problem because of baking powder? Do you see any correlation between use of baking powder and varieties of skin diseases, sir?
Definitely. See, our nannies never used to, our grandmothers never used to add all these things, which you are presently seen in any YouTube videos or something like that, or Khana Kazana or something, kitchens and so ads and so many reels and so many things nowadays. Don't go by that. Just stick on to your in-laws or grandmothers or mothers' recipes. They use all homemade things. They never depend on any preservatives or coloring agents or tangy materials to be added to the food preparations. Presently, we are just seen from the videos and so on, and we are trying to incorporate the same thing. So that's why during lockdown, you might have seen Corona lockdown. Most of the homes in India, they prepared pani puri and these things at home. They learned all these things, goy manchurian, pani puri, they prepared at home because everything from the outside is closed. But we are not in a position to just leave those pani puri and goy manchurians, the golgappas and all those things. So what we did is we prepared things inside the home. So in the same manner, while preparing, we also prepare by the using all those chemicals like ajinomotos in that, some salts in that, some nonsense, many coloring agents, so many things that needs to be avoided.
Especially the problem with the restaurants and roadside chat is that they use the same oil to even cook the next batch, even bake the next batch of pakodas, and it becomes a real mess. But it's not very. It doesn't sound like pleasant, because we are not telling any secret. We are just you're just telling to go back to normalcy, and we have become so deviated from normalcy that we assume that probably homemade pani puri is better.
No, the thing is, until unless if you don't add a little bit of ajinomoto to that, that won't get this taste of that what we get in the roadside. The child may say that what the pani puri you made, doesn't taste like how we used to get from the vendor. They start comparing with that, because once we start eating those things, they stimulate our neurons and our memories in such a way that every evening it pushes us to go to the pani puri stall, something like neurotoxins or something, whatever we call. So that needs to be avoided. And when they're in a multiple combination, we don't know in what way they are doing good. It becomes such a Apathya and Viruddha Ahara. So many things are happening, and still people are not ready to accept. But only they'll accept when the things goes beyond the one limit. Then they start thinking that how to correct it. But still, once they start taking medicines, everything is set down, and then there will be one query: sir, how long should I take this medicine? Then once it is somewhat rectified, then they will ask all those apathyas, shall I eat once in a week? So all these will come.
Rightfully, someone said, like, one who controls the mind controls the world, basically. So what about, again, non-vegetarian food? Matsyahara is told as a causative factor.
Usually in all skin conditions, I do say that if they are non-vegetarians, I ask them to stop it. Because all the non-vegetarian diet, what we do, which is definitely mixed with the masalas, spices, oils, or something like that, and they are cooked in such a manner, and they are not supportive to rakta, they definitely spoil the blood, and anything which causes the vitiation in the blood will definitely support the skin diseases. So indirectly, it supports skin conditions. So I suggest not to eat.
Interestingly, one of the causative factors that is told for Kuta in general and Shwitra in particular is Papa Karma, or sinful acts, or and Vipra Guru Gharshana, teasing and disrespecting the learned people. I have personally seen a case in which some amount of sinful act was involved. Have seen any correlation?
It's very difficult to say that it is because of these conditions. Just like how you pointed out and collected the information regarding the food preparations and the materials used, and they are the one which are absent in our grandma's recipes, and now it is there, and that's why we are getting all these things. So like that, we have made very clear assumptions and very clear observations. But when it comes to Papa Karma or scolding the gurus or something like that, doing that one, and immediately they develop, or a few months later or something like that, they develop such things. It needs to be a big survey to be conducted. Otherwise, we cannot claim those things. But definitely there is some genetic issues are there with some of the skin conditions, and even including the Shwitra. And if there are anybody in the genetic tree, if suffering from this condition or suffered from this condition, then there is a possibility down the line there may be some others may also develop these things.
Nevertheless, it is safe to say that discipline in terms of diet, lifestyle that we give concentration upon too, we should be equally careful about our behavior, mental aspects, mind control as well.
Definitely, indirectly, those mind control and as well as giving respect to elders, gurus, and not doing papa karma, all those things, maybe just to keep our mind in a right direction. And if sattva, atma, sharira, everything is doing in a normal direction or in a dharma marga, then definitely that leads to arogya.
And that also is explained as achara rasayana, like
Yes.
being good, socially acting, behaving respectfully and responsibly. And so that also acts as a rasayana, and that also has surely rasayana or rejuvenative effects. Twak, skin is involved, rakta and muscle and water element, udaka is involved. Probably that's the reason why chitraka, Guggulu, neem, kutki, so deep acting ingredients are chosen for this. And have you seen this classification based on doshas, or do you get only the white colored shwitras?
That's what I said. Usually, I come across totally whitish. That is, I suspect of complaining of kapha, and sometimes it is coppery. That is pittaja. Non-discharging skin यहाँ पर rough surface, dry nature of erythematous red. I have not seen that type of vata leukoderma, but pittaja and kaphaja are very common. I have come across those things.
I just collected a few important herbs. Khadira, Bakuchi, Tuaraka, Ballataka, Mulaka radish, Daru Haridra, Karanja, Kakodumbara, etc. So, can you please add a few more herbs that come right away as a Dravaguna expert, sir?
See, in this list, Kadira definitely has a very good role to play. Then Bakuchi, it's a very, very important drug in Shwithra. Then along with that, down the line, there is one Kakodumbara. That is also a very, very important drug which gives convincing results, Kakodumbara. And Ballataka, of course, it's typically in Ballataka application, we should be careful and we should we should convince the patient that what will happen if you use Ballataka. When we use Ballataka oil, these lesions, they will become blisters. And once the blisters are appearing, then we even increase the dose of Bakuchi and Tuvaraka also causes blisters. And if such a blister is formed, then we need to treat according to the Vrana, something on the line of Vrana. So then slowly while healing, the coloring will reappear. That's what Acharyas have said. So of course, it should be very carefully done with the Ballataka. And of course, Daruvaridra Karinja, regular one, ArogyaVardhini and all those things. Another important drug is Bhringaraja. I said Bhringaraja should be considered in this because it is going to definitely improve the Brajaka Pitta. And another one which supports indirectly in this condition is Vidanga. If it is due to any krimi, this Shwithra is happening, then Vidanga continuously consuming will rule out and ward off the Vidanga, the krimi, and definitely helps in improving the condition. This is the one wonderful drug from the herbal origin. Then we have another one from the not from the typically from the Ayurveda, but from the herbal origin, that is Ame magus, which is from the Ambelliferae, Ame magus. That is also having very wonderful results.
Related to Bhringaraja. But not often it is related with, or it is Rasayana and liver, we somewhat correlate, but not directly with skin diseases much, sir.
See, I observe that Bhringaraja Katakatishno Ruk Shoshna Kahavatanut Keshya Twachya. See, observe that Twachya. Twachya Krimishwasakasa Shotam Pandunut Dantyo Rasayano Balya Krishanetra Shiro, Artinut. So here, Tvacha is one of the important. Then I mean, in the Kayadevanikantu also you can see Kushta. In Bhava Prakasha, Tvacha. Rasayana is told by everybody, but it has a definitive role in case of skin conditions.
What is the regular dose of Bringaraja that you give, sir? I mean, which company that product that?
I use from the Lion, Naranarayan from Gujarat. They got Bringaraja Ganavati, and I'm using it since so many years. So I stick on to that one product only.
Government of India, the Ayush department is considering to categorize Ayurveda diet as a separate entity. It comes as a little surprise because most of the ingredients, food ingredients of Ayurveda, if we are categorized as separate, almost everything will be kind of separate. So the news is foods manufactured using Ayurvedic ingredients will not now be regulated under Ayurvedic Ahara category. And Ministry of Ayush and Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, FSSAI, in the India's apex body for food regulation, have formulated regulations of safety and quality standards of food products under Ayurveda Ahara category. So they are creating a separate. According to this regulation, manufacturing and marketing of Ayurveda Ahara products will now adhere to strict FSSAI regulations. A special logo has been created. The initiative of government the government said will ensure manufacturing of quality Ayurveda food products and help in expanding the international market of Make in India products. Government said that these regulations will further strengthen India's global positioning as a custodian of Ayush systems. And going on, the Ministry of Ayush, with an understanding that food safety and quality is a shared responsibility between manufacturers, consumers, and everyone has a role to play to ensure food we consume is safe and healthy. What could be the reason why they are like coming up with such a separate classification, sir?
See, definitely they have gone for analysis and they found out that, for example, everywhere there is a product, something like that. For example, I can say halal certified. It's a very typically they'll say everything as that particular, which is considered as a sacred for the Muslims or Islam, entire the world. So that has become a trend. So similarly, based on those lines properly, why can't we do this type of thing? So there may be something like that. They're categorized by putting a logo or a symbol like a green dot in a square to make it as a pure vegetarian. Then there is a red brownish dot in a square indicating it's from the non-origin vegetable source or non-vegetarian source is there in that, something like that. So then they might have thought that something like that we can create to bring in an awareness among the population that Ayurvedic Ahara. So if it is said it is Ayurvedic food, means it is adhering to the strict principles of Ayurveda while preparing it. So maybe that is a good concept, and in future people may start selecting, and even the malls and the big restaurants and even everywhere they are asking for that. So if you go to some North Indian restaurants, you can ask Jain thali. Very specifically, they'll ask whether it is a general or Jain, because when it comes to Jain, they don't use anything which is growing inside the earth. So they will avoid all those things in the food while preparing it. So something like that. So for that categorization type, maybe thinking in those lines, government might have thought. And of course, it's one of the important thing, and it improves many, and it opens up the vista for many preparations, because even the Pathya Kalpana, what is said in Ayurveda, same Pathya Kalpana can be carried forward in the name of Ayurveda Ahara. We can design so many preparations or Ayurveda Ahara for each and every type of diseases. So it's definitely it improves the scope for the Ayurveda.
And probably it also intelligently avoids hijacking of like Ayurveda concept and making anything and keeping it as Ayurveda. And I mean there was the funny incident that some students had come to some Kerala spa resort and they had learnt a few Ayurveda cooking classes, and along with sambar, chutney, etc. I mean sambar, rasam, all those things were taught, and even gobi Manchurian, everything was taught. So at least categorization wise, what is purely in terms of Ayurvedic and what is non-Ayurvedic, that demarcation will help to maintain the sanctity of Ayurveda in terms of dietary.
It's very difficult to say that it will maintain the sanctity because corruption is in our minds. We corrupt everything by using the rules and regulations. So we need to be very careful. With a good intention, they have done it. But if everybody, those who are stakeholders in that, maintain that or carry out those good intentions further forward, then definitely there will be good things to be at the end of the tunnel. But otherwise, definitely it is a new scope for the people to explore. So in future, even some restaurants may come as with we serve only Ayurveda Ahara, something like that. So it will be a typical thing, and that definitely it will improve the condition.
Probably because FSSAI is involved, the conditions in which the Ayurveda products or Ahara food products are manufactured, the process, whether they are in line with Ayurveda or not, or probably like GMP certification requires an Ayurveda doctor to be in charge of pharmacy. Probably an Ayurveda doctor would be required in, say, if restaurant is deemed as Ayurvedic Ahara restaurant. Yes, there are some positives related to that, sir.
Definitely. Not only that, see, already there are big hotels with 5-star hotels and all those things are resort type of things. They're already with Ayurvedic massages, Ayurvedic therapies in the form of course, there is a modification in that, but still they say we have an Ayurvedic doctor in our for consultation, and we have Ayurvedic massage therapists, and we have the dietitian. So similarly, in future they said we have an Ayurvedic doctor and we have an Ayurvedic dietitian, and we serve only Ayurveda foods here, something like that. So definitely it throws open a wide area to be explored. People will use those things and they'll try to find out and explore the things, whether it is right or what is wrong. And of course, ultimately the consumer, if they lift the things, it widens the scope.
Ayurvedic vadas called as vatakas, Bhavaprakasha Kritana Varga, and also in Bhojana Kutuhala, there are like certainly very interesting recipes and dishes which have gone out of fashion. This will help to revive them, because I mean, if the menu, if it contains the Vataka and the Shloka attached with it, it will add to the in which ways it is going to create some sort of a categorization and interest even to the consumers also, sir.
Definitely. See, when they start using that, if it is a we serve only Ayurveda Ahara, for that it may be a simple soup. They'll say it is Mudga Yusha, and there is in the bracket there will be explanation. This is done with lentils of so and so, and with these things, and explanation will be there. And people are there crazy for such type of things, and they'll accept that. Definitely there will be some scope for the Western world, and it will be very typically they'll ready for to these type of catchy things.
Only hope that this goes the right way, and a lot of misunderstandings in the consumers can also develop. Probably, I mean, this is just a draft idea that the government has, Ayush department has released now, and there will be like the Drug and Cosmetic Act and the food adulteration prevention related rules, and elaborate rules and regulations are coming. And all in all, I mean, first it did not grow in my mind. I mean, positive things did not grow, but probably this will be a good thing, net and net positive for the.
Yeah, definitely. See, when people are coming with Ayurvedic chocolates, Ayurvedic ice creams, then why can't be Ayurvedic Ahara? Definitely will come. Even Ayurvedic cloths are coming.
But I have not seen the cloth.
Ayurvedic, cloths, they say that something which is done with the turmeric, manjista, and something like that, they'll use it. They dip these cloths in that stains, and then they say that it contains tulsi, it is with karpura, this is with manjista, this is with turmeric, and good for the body. But how far it is going to help, in what way, we don't know. Because the drug has a typical absorption route will be there. And simply if something which is to be gone through the system and get absorbed to the body, it cannot be by simply applying on the body, it will absorb and get it out of the system. That will not be there. But still people are exploring these areas.
Like Ayurveda is growing very rapidly, and I mean, government of India, almost all departments, especially the current government, they think way beyond the horizon, and they plan for very well ahead, and suddenly tourism improvement is in mind, and promotion of soft power with the help of Ayurveda, yoga, and such other natural sciences is there in its mind. And speaking about the propagation of Ayurveda, on one of the previous sessions, we saw some American football player undergoing panchakarma and getting results. Now, Kourtney Kardashian, she's one of the celebrities, TV celebrities, a very big name. So on Thursday's episode of the Kardashians, very famous show, the couple shared that they were on a panchakarma cleanse, which Kardashian described as an Ayurvedic approach that is 3,000 years old and aims to get all the toxins that are deep within our tissue out of our bodies to have better quality eggs. So they underwent panchakarma therapy as kind of a Vajikarana therapy ahead of conception. In a confessional, 43-year-old, in a confessional recording, the 43-year-old explained that the pair who were doing the cleanse as their last egg retrieval was not successful. I did this cleanse for 10 years ago. I kept telling, so on and so forth it goes. Ayurveda is coming out with all possible colors, sir.
Definitely, anything in these modalities or these type of things are done, it keeps opening the vistas and gives a way for the many further attached areas to explore, and they'll come out with some other things. And of course, if it is kept on the basic lines of the principles of Ayurveda, if it is maintained, it's good for the next generation.
Out of all therapies, this Vrishya therapy and planning for the child, panchakarma for both the couple ahead of their plan for conception, and throughout, even after conception, the pregnancy care, not only for the treatment of infertility, but also for everybody. So there's a big opportunity here. Masanumasika, month by month, diet, etc. Everything is told. Navajata Shishu Karma is told. Soon after childbirth, what to do. Month by month, for a lot of samskaras are told. Probably there's a packaging opportunity there. If done right, it can help many.
I think it's already done somewhere. I heard, but exactly I'm not getting the exactly. There is one package. Soon after they want to, they are trying for the pregnancy. They'll be registered in that, and that is for the 9 months till the delivery. And entire things, entire the medication and the process in between, even matra basti or whatever the basti or abhyanga and food care and everything. So they'll be get registered, and doctor will be guiding them throughout their 9 months of gestation. And definitely, it's already started.
Yeah. All in all, I consider this. Many celebrities, especially in the US and Western countries, coming out open and talking about Ayurveda and Panchakarma terms. So they even have used these terms in public. So it's a great push for all of us. So I just forgot the Pigmento cream, a very well-made cream from Tarak Pharma, sir. Again, Bakuchi oil, Cassia Tora, Chakramarda is there. Can you please walk us through these ingredients?
Yeah, Bakuchi is one of the main ingredient. See, it contains Bakuchi oil as well as Bakuchi beech, and even it contains Tulsi beech, Chakramarda beech, and even Aristika beech. So all these things definitely, and of course penetrative, they have added Chitraka, Jiraka, and something like that. And of course for coloring nature, Gairika is also there, Kandaka is there. So definitely same, almost similar type of combinations what we give internally, similar combinations with they made it as an ointment base, and of course something which is applied like this. And these do contain some photocomarins. They are sensible to reactive to sunlight. So that's why soon after the application of this pigmento and a little bit rubbing is done, so that ointment gets penetrated the skin. Then the skin, that area, affected area should be exposed to the early morning sun rays or the mild sun rays, so that it will develop stimulate the melanocytes to produce melanin. So definitely it's a very good combination.
So rubbing is to be done till what, sir? I mean, to just to irritate or any lesion is to be formed with.
It's not like that. Just like you see, many a times what happens is, if I say the patient that you have to apply this one on the skin, the very affected part, then exposed to sun. I have seen that some of the patient they will apply like a thick paint, and without rubbing they'll expose it to sun. That is not a right way of doing it. So that's why I said apply ointment to this area, affected area, rub it till it penetrates the skin, and you don't find the original color of the ointment. It's only just something oil is smeared, something like that. It appears. After that, expose and your lesion is can easily seen through your application. Then you can expose the skin. I mean, applied area to sun.
I mean, how long they should be exposing to sun, sir? Like, is there any?
Usually, if it is around 8 a.m., good, quite good sun is there, then of course 20 minutes to 30 minutes is sufficient. Sometimes in cold countries, we don't get the sharp rays of sun, then it may take some more time and some timings may be adjusted. And of course, there are places like in Rajasthan or North India, very early 7 o'clock itself, there will be sharp sun rays during summers. So in that time, we can't tell the patient to at 8 o'clock sit in the sun for half an hour. No, that will not be there. So according to these locations and the conditions and the seasons prevailing, we need to adjust the timing and the dosage of exposure.
And I've seen many Shwitra cases, like throughout their lives, they'll not be having any Shwitra at all. But after their 50s and 60s, some elderly people develop. Probably related with their immunity, or how do you see?
Definitely, it is related with immunity, and sometimes even related with the thyroid disease, and sometimes even the deficiency states of vitamin B12 and vitamin D. All these things also have a contributory factors. We need to address all those things also.
And what's your average treatment duration, sir? I mean, of all the Shwitra cases that you have seen, how many months is?
Usually, I promise them that with 6 months of duration, there will be change. It may be 100% change or it may be partial change. If it is not at all changing anything, then your body is not responding to the treatment, then no need to continue. So I'll take a scope for a borrowing time of 6 months usually with these cases. And usually with the altering of the combinations, I do get the results or variations in the disfiguration and all these things content within first 2 months itself. Then slowly it starts improving the condition by every month.
After say 50 or 100% improvement, do you keep on certain Rasayanas for a very long period of time, or say Kadarajist or something with?
See, once if it is totally clear, very bad thing is that the patient doesn't come back to us to go for an option that whether we need to give some Rasayana, we need to keep that, because it's already gone. No, why we need to go for a doctor? So they don't come. Very rarely they'll ask those who are very much concerned about their life and their so all these things. They'll ask how long we should. Then usually in a step manner, we will reduce the dosages and try to observe any changes if it is when the drug is withdrawn. So after that, then some Rasayana dravyas like Madhusnuhi Rasayana or maybe some Prungarajana, 1 or 2 type materials may be given for some time. Then afterwards, we'll stop that also. So, but many a times it so happens that once the disease is automatically clear and they feel it is comfortable and everything is gone, then why to have an opinion from the doctor? They'll just keep away.
That's certainly worrying thing. Like, I mean, I've seen depression patients, they leave the medicine by themselves and they wean off and live by themselves, and only if it relapses they'll come back. And chronic skin diseases like Shwitra, again they do like that. And even in like very dangerous cases like epilepsy also, they see that with either the medicines side by side for 6 months they do not have any epilepsy attack, and they'll just live, and then it relapses. So it's so very important that it's not like, I mean, a chronic disease goes away that you have won a lottery and you'll go back to Pani Puri. That mentality should go away, and probably any chronic disease should be taken as a precaution, and we should stick on to one is Ayurveda medicine, also stricter diet and lifestyle.